right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Monday morning productivity call. It is post July 4th holiday. My brain is still fried from.
Celebrating.
Yes. We celebrated hard over the weekend. Bet Blake knitted a blanket or some kind of a quilt or something.
Sand my concrete and put up a retaining wall.
Oh my goodness. Look at this guy.
Yep.
Oh my
You
God.
had fun sipping your seltzers,
He's
your
such
White
a
Claws, and I was
man.
doing man stuff.
I pressure washed my deck around the pool.
I finally found somebody that says washed worse than I do. I pressure washed.
Need an Anissa translator on my phone.
All right, so let's pick it back up because this is all a mindset thing, y'all. I'm telling you, like once you get into the mindset of that, real estate and life are meant to be like one and the same. Like your daily life and real estate are meant to be congruent. All right. I think I lose people when I use that word, but it's the same. It's a synergy. Okay. So it is the blessing and the curse of real estate. And what we really have to do to be successful, and what I'm talking about here is really successful agents that I have observed. Okay. And this is good. This is a good reason to hang out with successful agents. You know, invite somebody to lunch or coffee to start, then maybe for a round of golf if you golf, top golf, something. You know, just get in good with them and just observe them and see how they work. Was with one last night. Blake knows her. She is an unorganized hot mess. I've been trying to get her on these calls for weeks, months even, but she just crushes the business. We know several like that. They're just like succeeding in spite of themselves. I don't think
This is just what I talked to Alex about an hour ago.
Oh, cool.
Before I left, too. Just so you know what you're getting ready to talk about.
Sweet. I don't think that's the way to do business, right? I think you can still do real estate the right way and build a really awesome reputation, you know, because that's your brand. But these agents are just very, very like in your face, real reminders that like you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be super organized, detail oriented. You don't really have to have your shit together at all. You just have to be people focused and people oriented, relationship focused, relationship oriented. So if you were getting your plans together for the July 4th holiday and you were thinking like, yeah, I need to get some yard work done. I got some projects I need to do around the house, but I also need to get out and be social. In our neighborhood last night, there was a fireworks display. It's a big deal. A ton of neighbors come out. If I was working this community, I might have had like a pregame situation, like, hey, come over for a little cookout and drinks in the afternoon prior to the fireworks. I mean, there's something I could have worked there. Outside of that, I mean, typically people have, I mean, that it's a party weekend. People are throwing big parties, and it's a great opportunity to get out and strengthen relationships and meet new people. So that's just the way you need to be thinking. If you were thinking, hey, I've been going hard and I deserve a break. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you do deserve a break. Maybe you've earned it. Maybe you've earned that freedom. But if you just clocked out the entire weekend, I think that was a mistake. You just really got to think about this. Let's try. All right, so my brain is fried, but I've got a very important message that I'm trying to articulate. Let me see if I can do it. You have to train yourself to enjoy every aspect of the business, because I want you to think about what the potential end result is 3 months or 6 months from now. 6 months. Okay. So let's say you meet some people, like Chris has met a few people that have changed the trajectory of his career and have allowed him to like quit part-time jobs. All right. So we're always one relationship away, one new relationship away, one maybe deeper relationship away from some sort of a breakthrough in our business. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the agents that I know that are super successful have accepted all of the pros and the cons that come with this industry. Here's an example. There's an agent I know. massively successful, tried to partner up with another agent to work some of her Zillow buyer leads, and just re- resigned from that a second ago or a day ago because she's just not a buyer's agent. So what we want to do, and that's a good thing, right, is figuring out like, all right, I'll work with a buyer every now and then. Like I work with my besties, but I really enjoy being a listing agent. So that means this agent has to fall in love with open houses, broker open houses, seller communication, marketing, honing their marketing skills, and really creating a body of work across the internet that is just like stellar, high quality marketing images, video clips, all the latest and greatest stuff with CapCut and all these other apps that do amazing things now to include AI. All right. So any questions about, am I making sense around that? Like Alex, I don't know what your conversation was with Blake, but imagine you're an agent that has found their niche in real estate, is really enjoying what they're doing because they are strengthening the relationships around them. They're building more relationships around them, and those relationships, like the more relationships they build, and the deeper they get into relationship, the more money they make. So they're like, wow, I'm like having fun. I'm meeting new friends. I'm building like really strong relationships. I'm meeting people that I never expected to meet. I'm going places I never expected to go. I'm being invited to places I never thought I'd get invited to. So I'm living my best life. I'm providing a service that they really value, and they value it so much that they're telling more people about the service that I provide. So I get up every day and it doesn't feel like work, right? This is the experience I've been trying to tell you about, like at the lake. So I came out of the woods from camping yesterday. My son and I got out probably, like 11 o'clock. Went and got something to eat, got showers, and I had to race to a 2 o'clock showing at the lake and didn't complain about it, wasn't sad about it. So that's the place where you can get. So if you're having frustrations around the business, what we need to be talking about, I think, is an implementation plan that is going to get you very much more acclimated mentally, all right, for this business, so that you're just approaching it with the right mindset. I think for the longest time, I came up in this industry being taught, having this phrase drilled into my brain that mindset is everything. I don't know if I really knew what that totally meant until now, right now, like right in this very moment. Because up until like this point in my real estate career, I always thought that meant or equated to mental toughness. Like you had to be just mentally tough because this business is a grind, and it will grind you into a fine powder that just you can just blow in the wind. I mean, it'll burn you right out. So that's what I always thought it was. Is like just working on my mental toughness and talking myself back up, getting up after I get knocked down. And I think that's probably part of it, but it's definitely just a little piece of the puzzle when we talk about real estate mindset. Because if you just take a couple steps back, right, look outside of your business and just start observing top agents. If you don't know agents that are closing a minimum of 2 deals a month, what I really want you looking for is the agents that are closing a minimum of like 4 to 6. Let's start with somebody who's pretty consistent with 2 deals a month, and then let's start reaching out to more folks. So how do we meet these people? Go to the realtor happy hours like Blake does. Start meeting these people Rodrigo does, and I've seen Alex at these events. So the way you can get the most value out of it is just to go there with the intention of asking questions to a lot of agents. Hey, who are you with? How long have you been in the business? Where's a lot of your business coming from? I can tell you that most of the really invaluable knowledge that I've gathered and retained and really executed on, implemented. That's kind of the theme I had for this call was implementation. But the greatest tips, tricks, tactical knowledge I've ever gotten in real estate has been out of the office in one of those kind of happy hour or realtor appreciation settings. All right, we got anything in the chat, comments, questions? No. I really feel like this point I'm making this morning, and I've said this a lot, but I really feel like this is potentially something that could change somebody's life. It's like, oh, I get it now. Being a realtor is living, working as a realtor is life. I mean, it's all tied in together. Everything you do. That's why when you see, or if you've ever seen or heard of a real estate agent who is a mom whose kids are active in sports, I mean, absolutely they're going to the ball field to support their child, but they're also there working as a business owner. They've got their business owner mindset. And so here's a new mom with a new kid on the team. Let's welcome her to the community. Let's bake her a casserole and bring it to her house. I mean, this is the stuff I see the top agents doing. They are constantly going, attending things that they're invited to, and they are consistently creating things, events and things for people to attend that they host. They do a lot of volunteering, philanthropy if they can afford to do that. They'll find some cause. Maybe somebody in their family's had cancer. It really affected them, and so they're constantly doing, like in Mobile, Alabama, there's a really, really successful chili cook-off event, fundraising event. They participate in that every year, and they get a team together and all that stuff. You need to start asking yourself, like, what am I doing, and what does it look like? What am I doing? What does it look like? What's my goal here? And then the other thing that this will help you figure out, I think, because if you're not willing to do it the way that I'm suggesting that you do it, and I want to make sure everybody understands what I'm trying to say. What is the real secret to this business? I want to make sure that if you're on the call today, you don't leave the call going, what in the fudge was this guy? What was he talking about? I want to make sure you're understanding what I'm saying. But what this is going to help you realize is that you can have a life and a professional life that exceeds your wildest expectations, or you can figure out that real estate's just not for you. Like you don't want to, because there are some people, and there's nothing wrong with it. There are people that, like, when they come home at 5, they want to be left the F alone. They don't want their phone ringing. They don't want their phone ringing on the weekend. They don't want their phone ringing on the holidays. And so they take a corporate job, or, you know what I'm saying? The real job. They re-enter the real job world because there are parameters around that protect their leisure time, right? With most careers. That's why teachers are nuts, because they do a hell of a lot of work outside of the classroom and they don't get paid extra for it. But we do. That's the trade-off, right? That's why we're on call. That's why we can have some confidence going into an appointment saying, I'm worth a commission because this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to be there when you need me to be there, to answer questions, to do whatever. All right. So, like, I told this first time home buyer mom that I was going to help her with some pressure washing at her house. I'm going to honor that commitment. Post closing, going to get over there and pressure wash. Who knows? She might have a friend over, a family member over, and then I've never seen a real estate agent do that. But that's what it takes. All right. Any questions about that? Y'all been quiet today. Y'all must have partied as much as I did over the weekend. I've got just a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about along that implementation front. So if you're putting some stuff in the chat, I'm going to read from some notes here. So if you put something in the chat, just take yourself off mute and let me know, or just ask the question audibly, or let me know you put something in the chat. But when we talk about, like, why implementation is such a problem in our industry, I mean, it is just massive. Most people go to conferences, listen to podcasts, read books, listen to audiobooks, webinars, all the stuff. And they get really excited about something. Like, typically when we go to conferences, we take, copious pages of notes, and we have all these big plans and ideas. And then we get back to the real world, and it just all goes to hell in a handbasket. Why is that? Like, why, if implementation is the key to us living our best life, why does it take so much effort? Why was it such a tall mountain to climb for us to get there? And the first thing I think is something we've just been talking about is the always on aspect of this business. Always on. If you're always on, it's really, really hard for you to hold on, like to be disciplined enough to maintain dedicated office hours. So here's what I want to tell you about dedicated office hours. In the past, I've recommended an abundance of office hours. Okay. So what do we mean by office hours? So office hours is doing the really important work that keeps your nose clean. It's a lot of the work that keeps you from being like these hot mess agents I talked about that are still wildly successful, but they do not make time for these office hours because they're dedicating too much time to the relationship side of it, or things that are just not productive, things that aren't, filling their pipeline, things like that. But what I want to tell you today that's really important that you should take note of is that 1 or 2 hours a day, or let's say 5 hours in a week. I mean, you could be out golfing, helping people do this and that, showing property, going listing appointments, helping somebody move, volunteering. It's like you've just had a slammed week of just giving of yourself in terms of your time and your energy. And you're like, all right, I'm going to dedicate all of Friday or all to Saturday to my office hours. That's follow up phone calls. That's return those emails. That's send those check in text messages. It's just loving on people. It's doing your paperwork. It's doing your contract to close. But that's what I feel like is one of the big kryptonites in real estate is this always on reality. That's like, I just don't have time to do everything that needs to be done in real estate. I don't have any time for myself. And it just starts to unravel the mindset. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is you really have to be, I think, very focused on what the demands of the client are. What are they demanding from us? What are they really needing from us? And here it comes again. The blessing and the curse is that they want your immediate attention. Okay. So you just have to be prepared to give everybody immediate attention. And really, a secret sauce is at the point where you're giving them immediate attention, they feel it. They feel like they are your focus in that period of time. All right. You have to understand that a client driven demand is market knowledge. Like, you need to understand loan programs. I mean, I think it may have been Teresa who was on this call a couple weeks ago, and she was like, well, if I'm going to know all that about loans, I might as well be a loan officer. I don't agree with that mindset just because I've seen how market knowledge, how well it works, how well clients respond to it, because it is such a trust building exercise to deliver really intelligent responses when you're asked a question. Okay. A client driven demand is to know the inventory. It's to know the inventory. So the agents I'm talking about who super social, keeping their pipelines full, living their best life, just being a friend and having friends and loving on their friends. Those agents that I observe when they go preview property, they actually love looking at real estate. I mean, they just love looking at homes. And one of the things you start to realize once you get out there and start looking at homes on a consistent basis is that it's going to start to really help you in your business. It's going to help you on your phone calls, on your follow-up phone calls. It's going to help you on a showing. If you're out on a showing and you're like, guys, I've been listening to you all day, and you must have passed this listing over because I sent it to you, but you're describing it to a T. I think we should just stop what we're doing right now and go look at it. If that home turns out to be the home, their forever home, their dream home, whatever the case may be, the place where like monumental memories are made, you are gold in their eyes. Okay? Making some sense? Anybody? Is anybody still out there? Blake, questions? Is this kind of related to what you and Alex were talking about today?
Sort of. I mean, I was going to pipe in there and say, like, this is earlier this month with just Anissa who just got off. I think I said, like, I disagree with, I mean, for better terms, obviously there's good about it, but the constant knowledge, right? Like, and you said, well, Blake doesn't know, use the S word. I'm not going to use it because I never cuss.
What?
But yeah, I think you're nailing it. Like, there's no wrong way to do real estate, right? Everybody's luck runs out, but some of these people are just making $1 million a year off being friends and never missing a party, right? Like, they're not out studying the market. They're not out previewing homes. They're not doing that. I do think that the probability that they have a career doing that is very low, right? Like, I don't think your top producers necessarily are out, looking at property every day without their clients. They're probably not getting on the MLS every day. Some are, but I do think there's a higher probability. But for Alex, more importantly, what I was telling him is comparison's the thief of joy. Like, Alex comparing himself to Rodrigo is silly. There's no tracking to that. Like, maybe sometimes you got to do what's different. You got to do something different than he's not doing. Find your niche in it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a superpower. I can tell you, I read a great book. I've talked about it many times in these calls, a book called Blue Fishing. It talks about how to find your superpower, how to find your niche, how to find your place, how to find your lane. And it's by doing. It's not by observing or thinking, overthinking. It's definitely sure as hell not by comparison. So I want to kind of back up though, because Blake answered a question that some people on the call or some people watching the replay may have. How are these people maintaining these big businesses when they're such a hot mess? So they screw up and they forget to order the termite inspection prior to close. And in the 11th hour, they got to scramble around and find a termite inspector to give them a wood infestation report prior to closing that's happening in a matter of hours. That rattles everything, that throws the whole transaction off. So you might be thinking, well, God, why would somebody do business with that person? I mean, even if they're their friend, and it's because they're such a good friend. It's because they do everything else really, really well. It's because they're there to answer the phone call when the friend needs it, or they're there to help them when their car breaks down, or they're there to help them, pick up the kids from practice when they need it. That's why they overlook some of the lack of attention to detail. I mean, that's the power of relationship. And I tell you, so this is all culminating from like the way I was trained in the business, the way I came up in the business, and I was on you know a trajectory. I'm just pounding that rock of it's all about working the phones and the follow up, and the more people you talk to, the more money you're going to earn. And it was a big shift that even Diana noticed it when we moved up to Birmingham and just experienced how relational agents were in this market. I think it was good to contrast it to the market we came from of, all these little towns of 10, 20, 30,000 that combine Baldwin County. And you still saw the relational agents, like the bestie agent, whatever we want to call it. Let's give it a name that's cute, at least. We saw them crushing it, but it's like, all right, well, that person grew up here. That person is born and raised here. No wonder they're successful. All they got to do is get their real estate license because they know everybody, and bam, all of a sudden they're a mega agent. So I think it didn't really have the impact that it's had on us since we've been in a bigger city and seeing these agents that just nonstop go out of their way. I'm talking about, I mean, they are extremely social. I know these agents, they go to the gym in the morning and they go with a group of ladies. All right. They're constantly doing happy hours and dinners and just ladies' nights and just stuff. They're constantly checking in with each other throughout the week. it's just like a thing of beauty. And you ask these agents, like, this is how it has made such a big impact on me. And then I'll let you guys go because I know I'm ready to go. I got so much, I'm so far behind. But to, see this in person and see this lived out, it's very eye opening. But again, it's like, do you want to become that person? Is this something that you feel like you were meant to do? Here's a good question for you to kind of just ponder throughout today. Do I want a career that is so ingrained in my life? Do I want this synergy that is just so congruent with my life and my career? Is that something I want, or do I want to be off at 5? But it's a real thing of beauty when you are able to accept that merger of life and business. Are you prepared to do that? Is that who you are? Because the rub is you're not going to get that income to offset the misery if it makes you miserable. Does that make sense? Gosh, I was really trying to deliver a really important point today. I hope that I did. Again, if you got any questions about what I've said or what I was trying to say, just reach out to me. We can talk about it. But I think if I wanted to just close out here with a phrase to really sum this all up, it's a passion project. It's like, wow, I can make a shitload of money helping people and just being an awesome friend. Now, I have made this point before on prior calls about, the real estate business, just the friend business and things like that. But there is an evolution to what I'm saying because, oh, I know what I was going to tell you. This is a very important point. Some of these bestie agents, let's call them, I'll ask them questions like, do you have a CRM? I mean, I asked KD Edenfield on this call if he had a CRM. The guy said no. No. I'll ask him things like, do you buy leads? Nope. Do you have a coach? Nope. Just crushing it just because they get up every day. I mean, Diana wakes up every day with her phone ringing from people that want to talk to her. So, all right, y'all. I appreciate the time today. I know it's been tough. I'm probably going to go take a nap. I'll see you later.